everybody, this is Dr. Charm, and tonight is another Power Book 4 Force Recap and Review. We're in Season 1. This is Episode 4 entitled Storm Clouds. And yes, a lot of storm clouds are brewing in this episode. But first, we open with Tommy and Gloria fucking. They can't stop fucking, y'all. They was getting it in, y'all. They were getting it in. So, but then we cut to Jeremiah, y'all know the R&B singer Jeremiah, and Jannard. And basically, we're starting to learn a little bit more background about Jannard and Diamond's story. So basically, Jannard was on his way to college, on his way to having like a real, square type of life. And I guess when Diamond got hemmed up and put into prison, Jannard had to take over the business, and basically he gave up his dreams. So he's like, I'm not finna just let everything go and just give it to Diamond and flush down the toilet. I've been running this shit for 15 years. I done paid my dues. So we learned a little background, and he's asking Jeremiah and the guys to gather some soldiers, some shooters. And again, we see JP's son saying the guys that he could gather and everything. So they're trying to get a little army together, Next thing, we got Liliana and Tommy. They talking about Claudia and what's going on with her. And basically, Tommy wants Liliana to follow Claudia. I don't know how Liliana gonna do all this. She ain't got no car, but I think she, she did pretty good for her not to have no car. I guess she taking Uber over there to do her surveillance, okay? But she's following Claudia, and we see her following Claudia as Claudia starts to do drug deals with this new designer drug that she's got out on the market. We see her make some drops. We see her make a drop to, I guess it's like a play brother. His name is Reggie, Puerto Rican cat. And he tries it, and he's like, man, this stuff is really, really good. And he buys it immediately. So we can see that this really is a good quality product. And she's really trying to make her own lane. She don't want to just be doing the books and everything and being a little good girl. She wants to be in there with the big boys. Next thing you know, Diamond and Jannard meet with Tommy. Vic Flynn comes in and surprises them and says, hey, I want to do business behind my father's back. And, my father ain't got to know about this. And they're like, hey, man, nothing good can really come out of this. But he's like, yo, I don't got beef with y'all. I don't think that y'all killed my aunt and uncle. So, yeah, now we revealed it. And no wonder Walter Flynn was so mad, because basically somebody popped his brother and sister, or brother and sister-in-law, and he thinks that it was the CIB, and they were like, nah, Vic doesn't believe that they did it. So they're saying, hey, but then when Vic gets over to Walter had him followed anyway, and he's like, man, what you doing? And he's like, yo, I'm trying to make moves. I'm trying to have it something to be to some inheritance, because the business is going down and you're not changing. And him and Walter are butting heads. And then they kind of mention Gloria. So it's obvious that Walter knows about Gloria. He doesn't approve of Gloria. And so this is where we got this whole thing of, he wants him with the Irish woman. Gloria is biracial or black, and it's not going to work. So Walter's very controlling. He rules the roost, you guys. He rules the roost. So again, we see something that I thought was really, really interesting in this episode. And the guy who's Flynn's right-hand man, Walter Flynn's right-hand man, I don't know his name, I'm calling him the consigliere, like the Godfather. He goes and visit his son in a homeless encampment over there in Tent City. And the son is strung out. And he's like, Dad, give me some money. He's like, man, I'm not giving you no money until you go to rehab. And then he still ends up giving him some money, but he brought him some food and stuff. And I think this is really cool that they showed this, because we see these power and these crime shows and all the drug dealing, and it looks real cool and glamorous and everything, but we don't really see the point of view of the people that it really affects, the people that get hooked on drugs and who have substance abuse issues. So I thought it was really cool that they showed somebody who was addicted to drugs, and the irony of it is this guy is addicted to drugs, and his father works for one of the biggest drug dealers in the city of Chicago. So this is it was real interesting to see that. Then we get to Tommy and Vic and Diamond and all them, they going to meet with the guys in the back of the yards, because they trying to really expand the territory and not have these old boundaries. So they trying to make new inroads. But you guys, this shit gets lit up by the cops, man. They almost get busted, but fortunately Jeremiah calls and tips them off, and they're able to get on out of there. But that shit was cutting it real, real close, because cops come up, and then we see your boy Seamus the crooked cop, he was, you know, he saw them. He's like, dude, and they're him and the yardies up. So yeah, man. So next thing we see May and Claudia. And Claudia says, I want to meet the chemist. I want to meet the person who created this drug, set me up a meeting with the chemist. I'm the person you're doing business with. I'm the right Flynn. Let's set this shit up. And Tommy and Vic, next scene, Tommy and Vic basically tells Tommy, yo, man, I know you've been stripping my woman. I know you've been fucking on Gloria. And that's that. And Tommy was like, man, why you ain't came at me about it? And Vic was like, yo, man, this is business. We doing business together. We're not going to let this get in the way of business. I'm not going to let it get in the way of any business. Yeah, so we get to also Diamond and Jannard talk about the deal, how that was real, you know, that cut everything really close. They really could have got hemmed up. And it was. They caught it. It was very, very close. Basically, cutting to Tommy and Gloria. Tommy tells Gloria, man, I'm going to have to find another bar, man. Your guy know about us. We doing business together. Hey, Tommy said, I don't shit where I eat. So shout out to Tommy for being smart. Because Tommy ain't been smart in the past. Especially with all that mess that happened with Holly. He ended up having to murk Holly. If all of y'all were watching Ghost, the original Power series. So it seemed like Tommy has learned from some of his experiences in New York. So he cut that off. He told Gloria, no more penis for you, okay? So then we see Tommy and Walter. Walter is threatening Tommy to stop doing business. He don't want him doing business with the Flynns. But the crazy thing that came out this episode, Liliana and Tommy had been, you know, when Tommy discovered that Liliana had these keys of coke up in the floorboards, and he's like, hey, where'd you get this from? And she's like, nah, dude is dead. I killed him. Ain't nobody coming for it. Tommy asked her again, is anybody coming for these drugs? She was like, no, we good. Baby, Liliana gets accosted by some Serbians, y'all. They put a bag around her head. They suffocated her. They were about to burn her eyeball out with a cigarette. Man, so Liliana was like, they was like, where's our fucking drugs? That's a lot of drugs. So she texts Tommy and she put something in there about ghosts. And that's how Tommy knew, okay, something ain't right. So he, you know, he knows something ain't right. He gonna have to go and save her. So next thing you know, the undercover Seamus, the crooked undercover, tells Vic, hey, you shouldn't be in the back of the yards. You need to stick with what you know. Leave that alone. And of course, Vic ain't listening to him because Vic is rash. Next thing you know, we see Liliana in the back seat of the car with the Serbians. Tommy busts in, takes them out. Liliana, you know, stabs on him in the neck. So they take out the Serbians. And then they find out that the boss is a woman. So they're going to have to still answer to the boss of the Serbians because she want to know where the fuck her drugs is at. So next thing, Tommy takes Claudia to the barbershop to give her somewhere safe to hide out while he goes and tries to get with these Serbians. He tries to get Diamond and recruit Diamond to come and help and take these Serbians out. And Diamond was like, man, you know, you don't know what you're doing. You fucking with the Serbians. That could start all kind of, you know, unintended consequences. I'm out. I can't do it. I cannot help you on this one. And shout out to Diamond. We can see that Diamond has learned a lot from them 15 years in prison, from being, you know, just an elder statesman. He's an OG in the game. So he's learned. He's more calm and more measured in his thinking. So he's like, hey, I can't do this. And then next thing you know, we see JP's bar getting hit. Now, remember last episode, they shot up his bar. Now they throwing rocks at his bar. He comes outside with his firearm and he sees the kids, and y'all, he sees his own son, but he doesn't know that that's his own son. But his son does know. It appears that the son knows that that's the father. And it turns out the son is also one of Jannard's little shooters that's in the game. So we'll see. I mean, I hope by the end of the season, at least, that they find out who one another is, you know, which is interesting. But, yeah, and then we get to this weird scene with Liliana and Jannard. And apparently, like, Jannard owes Liliana $8,000 and they talking shit. And I think she used to cook for him, or she used to work for him. And she was like, he was always coming on to her, and he wanted to kiss her scar or something weird. And she said, give me the money you owe me. And then he like kisses on a scar. That's some weird shit. But very interesting. So Jannard got some peccadillos, y'all. He got some, I don't know what's going on with Jannard, but that was weird. Liliana gets her money and bounces. And then we cut to Claudia. Claudia Flynn meets with the chemist, and the chemist basically was like, why are y'all meeting with me? You know, they're like, hey, you finna cook for us. You finna manufacture this drug for us. And she was like, no, I'm not. And they were like, yes, you are, because we're going to blackmail you, because we got the documents that you falsified. We have proof that you falsified your research to get this drug approved. Apparently the drug that this drug that's so great, it was some kind of a diet pill. And, but the chemical composition was too close to cocaine, so it didn't get approved, and it got, you know, taken off out of development. But they've got this drug, and so that's what Claudia wants. So basically they are blackmailing the chemist in a cooking crack, y'all, in a cooking crack. And then, lastly, we see that we had the final confrontation, because Liliana wasn't trying to get her eyeballs burnt out by the cigarette butt. And she tells, you know, them, hey, I'm going to bring you your drugs. Tommy comes with the dope. He don't have Liliana. And y'all, the leader, the female leader of the Serbians is no other than Tatiana from Power. And if y'all recall, they had the thing for a while. The Serbians basically owned Ghost and Tommy. You know, they bitches. And they ended up taking out the Serbian Jason, which was Tatiana's brother. And apparently Tatiana had saved Tommy's life. So she was like, look, Tommy was like, I didn't know these was your drugs. He gives her the drugs. She's like, yeah. He was like, we cool. She says, no, I want Liliana, because she wanted Liliana because Liliana stole her shit, and you don't steal a drug dealer's drugs and expect to walk the earth free and clear. And he was like, no, I can't do that. I cannot give you Liliana. And so basically Tommy takes out her bodyguards. And Tatiana gets murked, y'all. Tommy kills Tatiana. It's a cold, cold world. But guess who his backup was? His backup was no other than Vic Flynn. Vic Flynn. So these guys were at odds at the first episode. Now they doing business together. They killing folks together. They little, you know, got their little brotherhood going on. You know, the Irish brotherhood going on. So it's pretty interesting. We're gonna see some more next episode, and it'll be interesting to see what happens as more and more people start to learn about Claudia's designer drug that don't nobody got. She's the only one on the streets that got this shit. So she's really got a niche in the market right now. So she might end up being the queen pin. That'll be interesting to see what happens. And then, you know, she's doing this all behind her brother and father's back. So it's really going to be interesting to see what happens. And I'm also interested to see what's going on with Diamond and Jannard, because we got this dynamic going on. Well, Jannard is basically still running the show. He's letting Diamond think that Diamond is running the show, but he's really running the show. So it'll be interesting. And like I said, I'm liking seeing the character development in Tommy compared to when he was on Power. Like, Tommy is older, wiser. He's learned a lot. He's still a psycho killer, but I think he's more introspective. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next week. So I'll see you guys next week for the next Power Force Book 4 Force recap and review. I'll see y'all next time.